Ed here, Info Spot 411 YouTube channel. This is it, the late night show. Yes, it is. I hope everybody's been having a terrific weekend. You're tuned in to the late night show. Yes, you are. Okay, what I have on tap here for tonight. Elite Plays, thank you for coming. Seal Broxy, thank you. I'm going to just go over what I have on tap here for the late night show, and I got a lot of cool stuff in my description box as we go over the topics. First, our main topic, we're going to take a look back on the 1992 Los Angeles riots. Why did they happen? What happened? What was learned from it? Very interesting, and I got a lot of different video clips that'll go in sync with what I'm going to talk about with the 1992 LA riots in my description box. This is pretty cool. I have the video. It was from a news station in Miami. The world's deepest pool just opened in Poland. They had one, I think it was in the Czech Republic or Hungary. This pool is just, unbelievable. But I got the link for it in my description box. I'm going to talk about the news story in this pool. What else did I have? Oh, the news update on the COVID-19 vaccine. You probably heard about it. NBC News was covering it. I got a news story. I'm going to talk a little bit about it coming out. Oh, thank you for coming. Yes, thank you so much. What else I have here? Oh, I got a funny news story. A deer hunter loses his gun to an actual deer. And I'm going to read this story, what happened, and the deer takes off with the hunter's gun. Oh, thank you for watching. Life Anaya, thank you for coming. Just going over what I have on tap here for the show tonight. You'll probably see it in my description box if you check it out. Oh, this was interesting. I got a picture of it. A guy was out just swimming and just like... They got a picture, a drone took a picture of him on a back float, and it was off the coast of Florida. At any rate, there was a big hammerhead shark swimming around him when this picture was taken. So, real cool story. How are you, Info? I watched your market video. You should make more. Okay, thanks, Seal Broxy. Yeah, I'm going to talk about my next video. I'm going out to a place tomorrow to film. What else I have on tap here? Oh, a really good news story, an act of kindness in Atlanta at a grocery store. A group of people bought like $40,000 worth of groceries for people, and I'm going to get into why they did it and what happened. Really great story. Yeah, I got a picture of it. Elite Place. It was a guy out doing a back float, just enjoying the water in Florida. And he had no idea a hammerhead shark was swimming right around him. And this drone, somebody else was on the shore, flying one of those drones around with the camera and caught it. What else I have here? Oh, another good act is a Florida man had a car and he gifted it to a teacher in need. Really good story. I'm going to talk about it. And what I'm going to do now, my next tribute video will not be this week, but it'll be after my next live broadcast. So I'm going to take anyone who's on the live broadcast tonight, as well as if people don't catch my live tonight and catch next week or the week after, my next late night show will be in the tribute video. I think I'm already up to number 14 on it, but you're here, you're in it. And I'm going to do some channel drops here shortly so we can network with each other as well as some other people that might come in here. And then we'll get into some general conversation. So that's what I got going on here, as I always do. I got my little list here. I note everybody who's down. Let me get to the chat here and welcome everybody and do some drops. 1 second. Okay. All right. Elite Plays. Okay, Life of Naya. Zero 06. Seal Broxy, okay. Who else do I got? Oh, John, Jon. All right. My latest video has gotten lots of views. Okay, I'm going to check it out. Oh, OXIE, thank you for coming. I'm taking a note here of everybody who's in here, so you're going to be in my tribute video, and we'll move on with the topics. And I'm going to get everybody's channel and post it in the chat so we can network with each other. What I asked too is, I'll just say it again. Some of you guys have been on my live broadcast, know what I'm about to say. When we network with each other, I ask that you go on someone else's channel. You do three things: subscribe to them. Second thing is, pick out a video. Maybe it's a 5-7 minute video. Watch it in full. Third thing, leave a like and a nice comment, and they'll return the favor. CO Broxy, I will come over to your channel, and I will hit up your video. I've been doing a lot lately, and I'm trying to, get to everybody. Same with you, Elite Plays. But let me do this first before we get into our big topic tonight on looking back on the 1992 LA riots. Is let me get some channel drops here for everybody so we can network with one another. Okay, Elite Plays, let me grab you first. And then I got to add some more moderators in here, especially some of you guys who come to my live broadcasts very often. Okay, channel, Elite Plays. Okay, here we go. Elite Plays, let me get you first. Elite Plays is big into basketball, NBA basketball. Check out his channel. Good YouTube friend of mine. Level 1 drone. Yes, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to get into the level 1 drone. I'm going to get into the why, the what happened, lessons learned from the riots, as well as I got a lot of cool video clips on these riots. I've done a lot of research on this, so this is nothing I'm just brand new to. And I'm also talk about my own memories of it. Gosh, I was about 14, 15 years old when this happened. But what I'm doing right now, level 1 drone, I'm going to get you my tribute video. I'm doing channel drops here in the chat window so we can all network with one another. Let me come up here, Life of Naya 06. Okay, so give me just a second. I want to make sure I get everybody a channel drop so we can network with one another, and then we'll get into some good conversation. It just takes me a second to grab your channel and do a little cut and paste and toss you in here. Boom. Okay. Oh, thank you, Seal Brox. I appreciate that. I do. If anybody's not I'm going to get Seal Broxy here with level 1 drones. He's got some really, really cool drone videos. As a matter of fact, level 1 drones RC, one of my topics, if you can stick and stay for a little bit, I got a news story out of Florida. A guy went swimming and had no idea that a hammerhead shark was circling right around him. And it was someone else on shore who was flying a drone overhead and took the video of this. So I'm going to talk about it, and then I'll probably get the news story and drop it in there. We'll get to that a little later. But right now, I'm going to grab all your channels and toss it in the chat so we can network with one another. And then I'll get you your chat. I'm not ignoring you. Just one thing at a time here. Oh, thank you for coming. I appreciate that. I thank you for coming. Right now, again, I'm just getting everyone's channel so we can network with one another. And I'm going to get everybody a channel drop here in the chat window. And what I mean by network, not just subscribe. Okay, that's half the battle. Well, I would like you to go to someone else's channel, watch one of their videos in full, find a 5-7 minute video, and leave a like and a nice comment, and then they'll come back and return the favor. We're basically helping each other out, build each other's channel while we're on here. That's how I do things. Okay, level 1 drones RC. Oh, Jonathan, my friend from the Philippines, thank you for coming. Right now, I'm doing some channel drops so we can network with one another. All right. Okay, IESMAR. Let me grab you. So give me just a second. I'm getting all your channels here, putting it in, and I'm going to add a few moderators to my regulars that come here often. Oh, this is my friend. She does a lot of these eating videos, all kinds of foods, and she eats them. So interesting stuff. And she is a very good YouTube friend of mine. She comes on my channel often, watches my stuff. Great person to network with. Who else do I have? Wow, I'm trying to get Elite Plays. Let me get you that blue wrench. You're on here so often. Boom. Okay. Jonathan, let me grab you in here. I'm gonna get your channel. Copy. Okay, so 1 second. Almost done here, getting the channel drops, and then I'll get your chat and we'll get on with our main topic for tonight. Seal Broxy. Okay, I got you. I'm trying to see if I missed anybody. Oops. I got to take a note for my tribute video. If you're here, you're going in. Level 1 Drone RC. You're going to be in my next tribute video for coming on in, stopping by. ALESNALEONARDO channel. Okay. Hey, level 1 drone, is your first name Billy, by the way? Because you sound, when I watch your videos, you sound like somebody I used to know. Thanks, Elite Plays. I used to be on internet radio, as a matter of fact, and someone I spoke to, gosh, about a year or so ago. Okay, I got you. Yep. That was on Crazy Nation Radio. Yep. Yeah, we know each other well. We share a lot of the same views. Yep. Okay, cool. I think I got one more channel here. Copy. Another friend of mine here from the Philippines. 1 second. Okay. All right, one more channel drop. We're going to get into some good conversation. Okay. Yeah. I don't do too much, Billy, politics on my channel. I'll talk about like the system. I did a video on the understanding electoral college and popular vote and all about it. But as far as the politics stuff, I kind of stay away. I come on YouTube to have fun and get away with it. But yeah, me and you share a lot of the same political science views. We go way back. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It real quick. YouTube, to me, this is my own opinion, is politics are fine if that's your niche. You know, like if you're was that Steve Crowder or Mark Dice or the Young Turks, and that's your niche, you do politics, is fine, but it's not my niche, so I don't do too much getting into it. I could if I wanted, but I kind of come on here to have fun, entertain, and whatnot. KI comment drone. Okay, cool. All right. Let me get you in here, Billy. 1 second. Oops, wrong one. All right. First topic we're going to talk about here tonight. We're going to get into the riots. Okay, let me move my stuff over here. I got to get my paperwork. Now, I got some notes here on my research on it, as well as I'll talk about, what I know from my research. And then I'll even share a little bit what I remember. I was about 14, 15 years old when this happened. And some of the stuff you might know of. First is, why did the 1992 LA riots happen? And this, to me, was even bigger than the Watts riots of the 60s, or the one we had here in my home city, Detroit, in 67. What brought everything about was the Rodney King incident and the beating that happened to Rodney King, and the verdict that came out with the police officers that were involved in this incident, and it just sparked outrage. And that was the main part. There's a few other things. It was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, and there were some changes that came about afterwards. But anyway, let me start here. I'll just go through this here real quick. Unrest in South Central Los Angeles on April 29th after a trial. Now, this is April 29th, 1992, okay? I'm going to take you to the trial, give you a little information on this, and then I'll get to the chat. Oh, you have to go. Okay, well, thanks for coming. Where am I here? Okay. After a trial jury acquitted, now acquitted means not guilty. They, let someone off. Four LAPD, that's the Los Angeles Police Department officers, they were acquitted of excessive force in an arrest and the beating of Rodney King, which had been videotaped and widely viewed all over mainstream media, TV. So anyway, this was and this is when the riots started, the evening when this verdict came out on April 29th of 1992. Now, real quick, taking you back about a year prior, a little over a year prior, it was on the evening of March 3rd, 1991. Rodney King and two passengers were driving, and the California Highway Patrol attempted to initiate a traffic stop, and in a high-speed pursuit ensued, which means they took off from the police. And the speeds were up as high as 115 miles per hour before King, that's Rodney King, eventually exited the freeway, and the pursuit continued through residential neighborhoods of the Lakeview Terrace and San Fernando Valley before King stopped in front of a recreation center, Hanson Dam Recreation Center. When King finally stopped, LAPD and then the CHP, California Highway Patrol officers, surrounded King's vehicle. After the two passengers, now there are two other passengers, were placed under arrest and put in a patrol car. 5 LAPD officers surrounded King when he came out of the car last. They tasered him, and he didn't, and he resisted after being hit with the taser. But when he started getting struck with these Asper baton sticks, and I have the video of this incident in my description box, the actual Rodney King video, is what happened is he was on the ground and he kept moving around, and a lot of it was from being tased. And so they surrounded him and they hit him with the baton sticks. So and then when this happened, there was a gentleman in an apartment, and it was like one of these 3 or 4 story apartments. And at this time in the early 90s, they had the VHS cameras, or those camcorders. So he got his camera when he saw these cop cars come up in the commotion, the first few people being arrested, and he started filming this. And the police had no idea that they were being filmed. And he ended up taking this to a local news station, and it just broke, and it went through all the major news networks, made the papers, of this beating. And this is a little over a year prior, in March 3rd, 1991, this happened, and he was beat real bad. You can Google it, in his face when he was brought in. So anyway, where am I here? Okay. During the trial, the police felt he was under PCP or some other narcotic, and he wasn't. Let me just flip through some of this stuff here. Okay, unannounced to the police. That's the guy here, the civilian that taped it. Yeah. And I got the video in the description box of what happened. You have to be on your YouTube channel to watch it. It's from, I think, CNN. I got this one from. It came instant focus. Okay, now this is interesting here. I wanted to get to this part. I got a lot to sift through. Upon watching the tape of the beating, the former LAPD police chief, Los Angeles Police Department chief, Daryl Gates, his statement was, "I stared at the screen in disbelief. I played the 1-minute, 50-second tape again, then again and again, until I have viewed it 25 times, and I still could not believe what I was looking at. To see my officers engaged in what appeared to be excessive force, possibly criminally excessive. To see them beat a man with a baton 56 times. To see a sergeant on the scene who did nothing to seize control was something I never dreamed I would witness." And that's a statement from Daryl Gates, the police chief. So anyway, the L.A. District Attorney charged the 4 officers and the 1 sergeant with excessive force and some other charges. But what happened was, because the videotape made the news and was everywhere, the defense attorney for these police officers were able to get what was called a change of venue. Basically, they told the court, hey, we can't get fair and impartial jurors in this area because everybody has such bias watching this videotape and being in their own community. So they were able to move the trial to Semi Valley neighborhood. Now, the juror pool there was no African American in there. There's been a little I decided to say discrepancy, but there's been argument over race with this when the jury made their deliberation. However, the jury was biracial, where there was 1 Latino woman and an Asian American woman, and then the prosecutor was Terry White, an African American. And they deliberated. But what ended up happening, real quick, and I'm going to get to the riots after this, was the federal government at that time was George Bush was president. The feds came in and hit these officers with civil rights charges. So they got charged federally under a different crime because they have a double jeopardy clause. You can't charge somebody for the same crime twice. So once the state of California lost that case and the jury decided not guilty, they can't charge them again with those same charges. But the federal government could come in if it was different, which was the civil rights charges. And then they were brought up on some civil rights charges at a later date. So anyway, let me just flip through here, and we're going to get to the riots right after the verdict. Where are we here? Okay, the riots began the day of the verdict. The day of the verdict was announced. I'm going to go over this, and then I'll get a little more talk. And I'm not ignoring anybody in the chat window here. And what happened was the riots began the day of the verdicts and peaked in intensity over the next 2 days. A dusk to dawn curfew and deployment by the California National Guard, U.S. troops, and federal law enforcement personnel eventually controlled the situation after a few days. I think it was by the 3rd day. A total of 64 people died during the riots, including 9 shot by law enforcement and 1 by a U.S. Army National Guardsman. Of those killed during the riots, 2 were Asian, 28 black, 19 Latino, and 15 were white. No law enforcement officials died during the riots. As many as 2,383 people were injured during the riots. Okay. And this started, there was the evening right of that verdict, when that verdict got out and these officers were found not guilty. Now, my own personal opinion on this, when I saw this video clip and even years later, is my biggest problem with the actual incident itself, where Rodney King was beat just to a pulp by these group of LAPD officers. Even though he resisted at first with the taser gun and didn't want to put his hands behind his back, once he's on the ground and he was like crawling and scratching, when you got 5 police officers, you're telling me 2 of them can't get down there and just get him handcuffed? They just kept there, bang, bang, bang. Now, they did have a training thing the police did called the swarm technique, but that's when somebody's really resisting. Like, let's say somebody's got a bat or someone's throwing punches. The police are trained to, swarm around them to subdue the suspect and get him arrested. But no attempt was made on that. And that's where my biggest problem was with what happened. And it's just sickening to watch. It is history. And to know what happened, that part's important, especially because this is going to relate to when we're going to get into the riots. Was 5 officers with baton sticks, and 1 or 2 of them couldn't get in there and handcuff Rodney King. That's my biggest problem with this incident, with the actual Rodney King beating incident that happened a year before this verdict came out, and why I don't believe they were innocent. These police officers were innocent, and their defense was, hey, he was resisting and fighting. When he's on the ground and the guy, of course, his arms are going to move a little bit. That's a reaction when someone gets hit with the baton stick, or they call them the app stick, and, getting hit like that. Why? It still baffles me they couldn't get in there and just handcuff this guy. I mean, what do you need? 10 officers? You need 15? You know, I just sad and disbelief. So anyway, fast forward a year to April 29th, 1992. They had a change of venue. The trial goes in a different area outside that LA community where this happened. So when word gets out, and it's all through the news, they were found not guilty in all these state charges. Man, when I saw that afternoon, I do remember this. I said, "Oh my gosh, that city. Hopefully they bring troops in, meaning the military, because they're not going to take this lightly. There's going to be riots and some really really big unrest, and there was." So now we'll fast forward to the day, the first day that these riots started, the evening, just before dark. Um, and it was basically over by Florence and Normandy Street. And where it first started was at Florence and Hilldale was a side street, I believe, Hilldale. So anyway, where I got my sheet, I'll just talk about this. There was an incident where a group of LAPD officers go to arrest somebody, and all of a sudden, all the people start coming out from around the neighborhood and surround like these 4 or 5 police officers. And this just starts to spark the chaos. And then it's going to be the first start of the actual riots that evening. And I'll read what happened here. At Florence and Hilldale, 2 officers issued a plea for assistance in apprehending a young suspect who had thrown an object out of the car whom they were pursuing on foot. Approximately 24 officers commanded by the 77th Street Division of LAPD, Lieutenant Michael Mullen. Now, this is important, this lieutenant, because he makes a critical decision where this riot gets started, and I'll get to it in a second. They arrived to arrest the 16-year-old, this Mr. Daniels, forcing him in the back of the car. And anyway, what was not known to the community at that time was the crowd began getting around this incident, and this is at Florence and Hilldale. So anyway, as this crowd starts surrounding these police officers, the calls coming into the station, hey, they had, I think, 4 or 5 cars in a group of like maybe 15 Los Angeles police officers at most, and then there's a crowd of like 50 or 60 people in the neighborhood, and they are already furious, what happened, that these police officers got off beating Malice Green. So this lieutenant, after he hears this call for backup because these police officers are getting surrounded, he puts out a call for a retreat at 5:50 p.m., about a couple hours before dark, or a few hours, and they were sent to an RTD bus depot. It was basically a station. So this lieutenant said, hey, get out of the area. We're going to meet up at this bus station, and we're going to start to, get everything set in motion here in case people start rioting and looting in the neighborhoods. So they get there and they retreat, and that sends the wrong message. So this crowd starts going nuts, and they end up getting to Florence and Normandy, and anybody who was not African American, Black, driving by, they were getting stuff thrown at their car. They were getting worked up. Then a couple police cars came through, and they started yelling and screaming and throwing stuff at the police cars, and the crowd keeps getting worked up more and more. And there was a little party store on that corner, and they went in that party store and just looted it like crazy. And then as that started happening, the police were told, clear the area. And how the police department works is in that chain of command. And what happened that evening was, at that time in Los Angeles, the chief of police was not an appointed position by the mayor. It's an elected position. So at that time, Gates was at a fundraiser for his election, and they kept waiting to, oh, thank you, C. Miller. I'm talking about the 1992 LA riots. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. I'll get your channel dropped here shortly. So as they're waiting at this bus depot, and a lot of the Los Angeles Police Department getting word, what do? We get a riot gear? Where do we go here? Where do we go there? And then they were also given a command, non-force command. Basically, they ride their cars through, light their signs, or not stop and make an arrest. Well, this crowd at Florence and Normandy keeps getting bigger and bigger, and they hit a store. And I have a documentary in my description box from National Geographic that shows this, a very good documentary about the LA riots here, or also known as the Rodney King riots. So what this starts to get throughout the city. And I've seen several riots, afterwards, on TV. But to me, not saying it's anything good, I'm just speaking of reality. I don't think anything's come closer compared to the 1992 LA riots. They had the choppers going over, and that whole city was fire after fire after fire. A few other things you'll see in the documentary, they mention it, was some of these fire engines that were coming out and getting calls to put out these fires, because what they were doing is going to a lot of business and stores. They would loot it, and then they would throw the mocktails in there or just set fire to it. Mocktail is basically a bottle of alcohol, and the rags put in there, set on fire, throw it, blows up, initiates a fire in a building or business. And thank you, C. Miller, for the thumbs up. So at any rate, these fire engines were getting shot at. And this is just the fire department of Los Angeles. They're trying to go out there and keep all these businesses from burning up, and as well as from spreading building to building to building, or getting into the residential neighborhoods right behind some of these businesses that were being looted and set on fire. So now what they ended up having to do is they had to get Los Angeles police to escort these fire engines to put out some of these fires. And in the meantime, the mayor, was it Bradley, I believe his name was? Anyway, him and the police chief at that time, Gates, did not get along at all. So, and Gates at that time, he was called out at this fundraiser dinner that was outside this LA area, and they were all waiting to get word, how are we going to handle this? Were we going to get this under control? But by this time, this whole city is looting everywhere, rioting, fires everywhere. It's even becoming dangerous for these police officers. And I think it was by the second day, they called in the National Guard, and the National Guard, that was a mess. They had the ammunition stored at a separate building to get mobilized and get out there. President George Bush, the first President George Bush, who passed away about a year ago. Anyway, he got involved, and he called up the United States Marine Corps from the naval base in San Diego. And they had orders then that after that second day to come in, and anybody, to make any arrests of people looting or rioting. Some of the sad part was a lot of these people were not about any type of cause or what the problems with the police department at that time. They were just simply there to loot these stores and take anything they could of value, but the bad part with that is the people that live in that community, where do they go 2 days later or next week when this is done and they need their milk and groceries, and all these businesses and local stores are all burnt to a crisp? They got to get way out of the city or find transportation means to do so. As you watch this documentary, I mean, nothing was spared, unfortunately. Class of 2020, thank you for coming. Just talking about the LA riots. Now, a couple other interesting things with this riots, and I'll get into what was learned from it too, and what change came about after these 1992 LA riots, or also known as the Rodney King riots. This was big on the news as well, the attack on Reginald Denny. And I'll read a little bit about this, and then I saw this news clip as it was on TV. Reginald Denny was a white construction truck driver. It was pulled from his truck at an intersection and beaten by a group of black men who became known as the LA4. The attack was recorded by a news chopper that was going over. But how should I say, every gray cloud, there's a silver lining. It was another group of black people that came to his rescue and saved his life and said, hey, this is wrong. This guy has nothing to do with it other than he's just white at the time, this Reginald Denny. And I have the video clip in my description box showing what happened to him, and they basically pulled him out of a car and just these four guys just beat him to a pulp, nearly to death. And it talks about these LA residents that came to his rescue. He's still alive today. Where does it say here what Reginald Denny is? He tried to sue Los Angeles and lost the lawsuit. He's living in Arizona and he works as a boat mechanic, lastly reported Reginald Denny. Another one that there was one clip on YouTube I found, but it was somebody recording it with a camera on the TV. Fidel Lopez was an Hispanic guy, and he was another one that was beat really bad, and they spray painted his face and body. And it was a black preacher or reverend that came to his rescue. And let me read this here, what he said. This was just amazing. You know, for the bad that some people do, is nice to know that there's other people willing that go out and do real good as well. So anyway, let me read this here. Around 7:40 p.m., almost an hour after Denny was rescued, another beating was filmed on videotape near that location. Fidel Lopez, a self-employed construction worker and a Guatemalan immigrant, was pulled from his pickup truck and robbed of nearly $2,000. Rioters, including, okay, these are names of the rioters. I don't need to get into that. After Lopez, after being beat, he lost consciousness, and the crowd spray painted on his chest and torso black spray paint, and he was eventually rescued by a black Reverend, Benny Newton, who told rioters, "Kill him and you have to kill me too." Lopez survived the attack, but it took years to fully recover and reestablish his business. Newton and Lopez became close friends and are still close friends this day. And there's a video clip that's very moving. This Reverend comes out and he's got his hands up like this to the people that were just wanting to kill this guy. And he's like, get back. You know, you want to hurt him, you're going to have to get through me and hurt me too. And I think what stopped people was that he was in his suit that a reverend or pastor wears. I don't want to say suit, but his outfit, you know, because he just came, I think, out of a local church and saw what was going on and came over to rescue this guy. And they still have a good friendship today. So that's one good thing that came out of it. And one more part, let me get a drink of my Mountain Dew and then I'll get into kind of the what has changed from these 1992 LA riots, or the Rodney King riots, and what was learned. And I'm not ignoring you guys in the chat. Just want to get through this real quick. This is of note, and I brought this up. Sometimes I've had discussions with people. I support the Second Amendment and for gun rights, and then some people are for gun control. But this is a interesting thing here as far as why it's important to own a gun, or have to right to own a gun here in America. Koreatown. Okay. Rioters and looters came in Koreatown, and one of the main reasons they did, and they looted stores and businesses, set them on fire, and attacked the Koreans as well. Before the riots, there was a major incident at a party store. I think it was a black girl, was shot by the lady who owns a store. It was a Korean party store, and killed over stealing like a glass of juice or something. So there was already tension between the Latino and black community is with the Korean community, with Koreatown. So they became a big target as well during these 1992 LA riots. And it's in the documentary. I'll read this here. Large parts of the Los Angeles were engulfed in flames, and the Korean businesses suffered just as well. The casualty of terrible black-Korean relations. Many buildings were burned to the ground. Their owners waited in vain for assistance from authorities, which didn't come. While some businesses were saved by volunteer gunmen who took aim at the looters to scare them away, others were not. Where is it? Edward Chang says the riots were a turning point in Korean identity. Prior to 1992 in Los Angeles, Korean immigrants considered themselves Korean, he says. But after 1992, they began to call themselves Korean Americans. According to Chang, that's an important distinction, and it means Koreans began to see themselves permanently as part of the United States rather than temporary residents. Where is it here? I'll just get into this without having to read all this stuff. Keep this short and sweet. I got 3 pages on this, but I got the video links in my description box. So what ended up happening was the police came out near Koreatown, but they did not come in to stop the rioters and the looters from burning these businesses and attacking these Koreans. And there was the word got out, a radio station, a local radio station, and it was in Koreatown for the Korean people. And they would play I don't know, I guess their Korean type music. And then they had like shows like I'm doing here, but it was all, Korean. So they came on there and they said, hey, and I got this again in the description box for below my video here, if you want to see it, a documentary on this. I think it's like 6 or 8 minutes. As one of the guys who worked at this Korean radio station talks about it. He said, if you have means to firearms, protect yourselves and protect your businesses, especially if you cannot flee the area in a safely manner. Because now they were having rioters and looters come in there all around this Koreatown, and police would not come. So what ended up ensuing was there were some shootouts. And I have a video, again, in my description box, you'll see it, of a shootout. And it was a Korean store owner who had like sold firearms and jewelry. And he got together with a couple people and he came out there and he started shooting. And I believe it was a group of Hispanics, if I'm not mistaken, as they mentioned in the documentary. And they were there to go loot his business and set it on fire, as well as attack to the Koreans in the area. They were getting shot at. So these Koreans didn't monkey around. They came out with their handguns and started shooting. And then there's another video, I don't have my description box on YouTube, showing it was like a grocery store. And they had one Korean had an assault rifle up on the roof and the others got their shotguns out. Oh, thank you, Victory 8, talking about the 92 riots here. And I'm on the topic right now, Koreatown. So thank you. I appreciate that. What happened was the shootout started going on because it's a point I make. I'm more one, I support gun rights here in America as far as having the choice to own one, or it's also your choice not to own one if you don't want, with the Second Amendment, is you cannot always count and rely upon law enforcement and military to protect you. And this is a great example of it. So, and there was Koreans that got killed, injured as well. I mean, it's not that I want to see or encourage, but when there's no other choice and you can't safely flee the area and people are coming in there to harm you, to loot your business, set it on fire, which happened. So this message got out and they started to assemble. But what a lot of people didn't know in Los Angeles, Korea is similar to Israel. Well, South Korea, I should say, South Korea. They refer to it as Korea, but there's 2 Koreas, South Korea. When you turn, I think it's 18 or 19 years old in South Korea, God's Island, thank you for coming, you have to serve in the military. So the vast majority of these people were already trained in combat and they served in the military. So these aren't just some average Joe Blows that never handled a handgun before or just shot it in some gun range 2 or 3 times in the past 5 years. These are people that were former military in South Korea. So they came out and they did battle. And that was another thing that happened. But, kicking it with Lynn, thank you. So later on, what ended up happening is relations have improved big time with the Korean community and the African American and Hispanic community. But because of this incident it was at a party store, the lady who worked at this party store in Los Angeles prior to the 1992 riots shot and killed this young black girl, if I'm not mistaken. It could be a black kid, but I believe it's a young black girl, for stealing a juice. Got no jail time. I think it was like 2 years probation and community service and a fine and something. I have to go over that again, why this came about. But there was already tension between the Hispanic and African American community and Korean community. And this was one of the things when these riots started happening, they went after the Koreans. And there was also Koreans really hurt too as well, that, they threw stuff at their cars and what happened. It was a bad time. Now, let me get a sip of my pop here, and I'm not ignoring you guys in the chat. I'm going to give you some channel drops here. I'll get to the last part, kind of lesson learned, what was learned from these 1992 riots. So, what was learned was before these 1992 LA riots in Los Angeles, on the law enforcement end, how crime was approached was this tough on crime approach, and go after gangs and drugs and people in the community, and no nonsense. And if you watch the one example is this, if you watch the movie Colors, which is a favorite movie of mine, is pretty much to reality of what the gangs were like in Los Angeles in the 80s. But what was just as important was the approach, and the wrong approach by the police department, the Los Angeles Police Department, into it. And going after it. They used to have, they called them the crash units, and then the LA County Sheriff had a unit too. You'll see it in the movie Colors. And what was interesting in that movie Colors was they mentioned this, and it wasn't a big scene, is but people remember, but it's in the movie. They had a big like community meeting in this high school or middle school gymnasium, where representatives from the LAPD met with people in the community, and they get in the church, and as they start saying, hey, you you need to speak to your kids, keep them off drugs and crime and this and that. So, this guy gets up, as an actor in the movie, but he says, hey, well, your gang units come through our neighborhood and shining the lights through the window. I've had my kids shaken down by your LAPD gang units just going to the store to get some milk and stuff. And your tough on crime approach really didn't get good community cooperation. And one of the things that was changed after the 1992 LA riots in general on the law enforcement side was the approach of community policing, to work with the community and give them a voice, and let it be known that you police for the community. You're not policing the community. So that was one of the changes that's happened. Now, a big setback happened, without getting into it, with George Floyd in this, for law enforcement all across the country on that. But that approach changed. And another thing that they made a big mistake that didn't go over well was when they do these drug raid on houses. Gates came out before the 1992 LA riots, and he really touted, or if I'm saying the word toted or touted, but anyway, he came on TV and he bragged, basically, that's an easier word for me to say, but he bragged about this little armored vehicle, and it had a big pole on it. And when they would have a drug raid on a house, it would come through and bust through the door and window. And he said, yeah, we're zero tolerance. We're going after drugs and gangs and doing this. Well, it was some innocent girl or someone innocent got hurt in one of these raids with that thing just busting through the door. So yeah, there was some major changes that were brought about, is one of the good notes of the 1992 LA riots. And as well, now, some of the things, the law enforcement has the body cams, as well as everybody has, cameras everywhere. So some of the stuff that went on with bad people in law enforcement and things going on, the watchful camera is out and about, as well as some improved relations, with the diversity from Asian Americans in Korea to the African Americans, to Hispanic Americans living there, Caucasian Americans, some that's come about, and some changes that's happened, from the 1992 LA riots. But anyway, if you guys want to, if you're interested in this some more, a few things I have in my description box. Once again, I have the documentary from the National Geographic channel on this. I have a couple video clips of what happened in Koreatown. One is pretty raw. It's not a movie, not a freaking video game. These are Korean Americans that come out in the lot, and they start shooting at the people that come there to loot and riot. What else did I have in there? Oh, the story on Reginald Denny, I believe I have in there. But anyway, if you're interested in this, want to know a little more, I'm just doing a short synopsis on this, but I have, again, everything in the description box, the video clips there. You could check it out. Before I move on, I'm not ignoring anybody in the chat here. I'm going to get some of your channel names if I don't have them on the list. I'm going to do a tribute video, not tomorrow, but when I do my next live. So if you're on the live tonight, you're in the tribute video, as well as I'm going to do a few more channel drops of people who just joined me. Victory, yay. Let me get you in here. And I'm going to get to the chat comments right here quick. So if you have a question about the riots or anything you want to say, go on ahead. That's our main topic here tonight before we move on. C. Miller TV, my friend, doing some good pranks. Really doing well. I've been checking out your channel. God's Island, thank you for showing up. Kicking It with Lynn, thank you so much. Kicking It with Lynn. Twisted Thunder, thank you for coming. Twisted Thunder, I don't believe I haven't seen you before, so if you can, I'll try to pull your channel up, but just leave a comment in my comment section. Just say put enjoyed the live or hello, whatever. That way I can grab your link to get you in the tribute video. It just helps me out. But let me do a few channel drops here for some people that just joined us. I didn't put their channels in yet, so we can network with one another. C. Miller TV, let me grab you, my friend. C. Miller TV does some funny pranks, as well as he does some live broadcasts and other things. Been a friend of mine for quite a while now on YouTube, genuine YouTube channel. Definitely want to get connected with C. Miller. And again, I said this earlier, we don't just subscribe to someone else's channel. We subscribe to their channel, we watch one of their videos in full, and we leave a like and a comment, and they'll return the favor. That's genuine networking. Paste. You're on Mobile Run. Okay. Well, if you can, Twisted Thunder, in my comment section, just leave a comment like hello or whatever, and it gives me a shortcut link to your channel for my tribute video. God's Island, been a friend of mine here on YouTube for quite a while. Let me get you a channel drop. I don't believe I put you in here yet. Thank you for joining. Another good friend of mine, genuine YouTube channel for sure. One second. I'm just grabbing your links here so we can network with one another. People I haven't gotten yet, their channels. I've grown. Yeah. It's not easy. It's a grind. You know, I focus on my content. Not that my content's always great, and in networking with people. And that's helped me. Kicking It with Lynn. 1 second. Let me get you in here. Kicking It with Lynn. She does a lot of food videos, and as well as she just talks about stuff in everyday life, and she does lives, broadcast as well. Genuine YouTube channel. Someone you definitely want to build with, because it's not just someone helping us. Okay, we help each other. That's as well as what networking is. Twisted Thunder. Let me see if I can pull up your channel here. 1 second. Twisted Thunder. Okay. 1 second. One more channel drop here. Let me go filter and channel. Twisted Thunder. Boy, I'm not seeing you on here. So, Twisted Thunder. Last time I saw you were like 500 subs, and that was, oh wow, at 500 subs, I think that might have been around June or early July, maybe around that time. I tried to do a search, Twisted Thunder, and I wasn't pulling you up under channel. So, like I say again, if you can, just leave a comment hello in my comment box. That way I can have a quick link to your channel, and then I'll get you in the tribute video. I thought I had Kicking It with Lynn as a moderator. 1 second, Lynn, if you're still here. Boom. Okay. Anyway, let me get a drink of my Mountain Dew. We'll move on to some other stuff. If was there anything any questions or anything people wanted to say about the 1992 LA riots before we move on? No? Okay. Oh, you're here. I hopped on my YouTube. Okay. Yep. And thank you for everybody. Thank you for being here. Okay. Next up on the late night show here, maybe probably most of you have heard about this, but United Airlines charters flights to distribute the Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. Check previous vid. Done. Okay. All right. Thank you, Twisted Thunder. Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'll go in my comment box after my thing here, and I'll hit your channel up as well. And I got you noted, so I'm going to put you in my tribute video when I do it on the next live, and that is for everybody to network and help give exposure to your channels. And my way of saying thank you for coming on my late night show. Anyway, here's some good news. You might have heard about this. This is from The Hill, and I have the news article on this in my description box below my video here if you want to read more about this. It's also been reported everywhere from NBC to Wall Street Journal, whatnot. United Airlines on Friday commenced charter flights to send doses of Pfizer. Pfizer is a major pharmaceutical maker, one of the biggest, with Merck and Eli Lilly and whatnot, and BioNTech's COVID-19 vaccine to prepare for distribution, according to the report by the Wall Street Journal that cited people familiar with this matter. In a statement to The Hill, Federal Aviation Administration said it would be supporting the first mass air shipment of the vaccine on Friday. As a result of the historic pace of the vaccine development through Operation Warp Speed, which is done under President Trump and our government and a lot of people involved, even the Department of Defense was involved with this, as well as top pharmaceutical makers such as Pfizer with this Operation Warp Speed. 60 Minutes did a story on it. And careful logistics and planning, the FAA today is supporting the first mass air shipment of this vaccine, the FAA statement read. The FAA said it is working alongside manufacturers, air carriers, and airport authorities to provide guidance and implementing existing regulatory requirements for safe transportation of large amounts of the dry ice air cargo. Due to the complexity of the fast-track vaccine, Pfizer candidate must be kept at below freezing temperatures, meaning this vaccine the way this vaccine's made, this was on 60 Minutes, is it has to be kept at a very, very, very cold temperature, and it's like 2 doses. You take a shot the first time, and I think it's like 30 or 32 days later, you go in for a second shot for this Pfizer vaccine for the COVID-19. Where is it here? FAA established the FAA COVID-19 vaccine air transport team in October to ensure safe flight and transportation of these vaccines. A United spokesman told The Hill in a statement on Friday the vaccine rollout was being handled by United Cargo, which established a COVID readiness task team earlier this year to help ensure we have the right people and products and services and partnerships in place to support vaccine distribution in an effort on a global scale. There is no way I will be getting that vaccine. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, let me finish reading this. That's fine. We have made a commitment to our pharmaceutical and medical customers that we are ready and safely and effectively support the vaccine transportation needs. United did not provide details about which flights have been designated to carry the vaccine materials. Around-the-clock air traffic services will prioritize flights carrying the vaccine cargo to ensure the highest safety level of transportation, the FAA said. Pfizer, based in the United States, and BioNTech, based in Germany, have said their vaccine had an efficiency rate of 95% in the late-stage clinical trial. Both companies are awaiting emergency use authorization after submitting a request to the Food and Drug Administration, that's the FDA, last week, and this is November 27th, 2020. I got the article in my description box. Now, my own opinion on this is, okay, with the vaccines, I always try to get from history was, on a good note, like it took years, they developed a vaccine for the chicken pox, which was no major problems reported. All right. It was done well. But on a bad note, because I don't want to say bad, just concerning note, this is my own opinion. All right. It's not from the Hill, the article. Back in the early 2000s, after September 11th, if you remember, one of the terrorist things that happened when they say domestic terrorism was there was anthrax mailed to the Inquirer magazine headquarters, and there was another building. And so the government rushed the anthrax vaccine, and it was distributed through the military and other parts of the government. And there was this big concern about anthrax. You know, it was so easy for any type of person or group wanting to commit a terrorist act could unleash this anthrax. So they rushed this anthrax vaccine out. And what ended up happening was a lot of people got sick. A lot of people got sick off this anthrax vaccine. And then all of a sudden it was like dead. You didn't hear much about it anymore. I mean, it came in the news quick and it was all over. But then months later, 2 or 3 months later, news stories started coming out of all the servicemen and women, as well as other people that have gotten really sick and have had illnesses from the anthrax vaccine. So there's been success and failures with vaccines. But, excuse me, hiccup. And this is just my opinion, and I'm going to get to the chat here. My thing is with the COVID-19, and I'll just speak in America right now, it's global. It's at the point, the only way you're gonna beat this thing and we get back to life as normal is to have an effective vaccine. Now, granted, even when this vaccine rolls out, and if it goes according to plan and enough Americans take it and it works and it's a successful vaccine, we'll probably still have a year of wearing masks everywhere, because the mask is mainly to keep people who have it from spreading it. But, you know, a lot of businesses will be able to reopen. A lot of things that we're not able to do now, we will be able to do, as well as not get sick and end up in a hospital or die from this COVID-19. Now, that's if this vaccine, so I'm caution, okay, I try to look at both sides of this issue, is successful and works, all right? If this is not a good vaccine and people start getting sick and it don't work, what do you do? You know, it's like years I've heard mixed results with these flu shots, you know, and in all these hospitals and companies, as well as even going to the drugstores, like here in America, two of the big CVS, Rite Aids, Walgreens, they're always putting stuff up. And I'm not ignoring you. I'll get to the chat in a second. They're always pumping up, get your flu shot, get your flu shot. Well, just me personally, I've talked to several people, and some say, hey, this thing is good, and I've been taking it for years, works great. And I've talked to a lot of people that said, you know, hey, 5, 6 years ago or 10 years ago, I took that flu shot for the first time, and I got sick as a dog. I've never taken it again, and I've been fine every year and haven't had the flu. So I've heard mixed results on that. Let me get to the chat window on this topic. I'm going to say the live chat here. There's no way I will be getting the vaccine. And doesn't this vaccine only have a 80% chance of working and a high percentage of vaccine injuries? Another newer pharmaceutical company has a different one with better percentage. Okay, off of this article, and I have this news article posted in my description box from The Hill, and in this as well as the Wall Street Journal. It is stated in here, let me get to it, 1 second, everybody. Okay, Pfizer is the main pharmaceutical company with this vaccine, based in the United States, and then BioNTech is the other one out of Germany, have said their vaccine had an efficiency rate of 95% in late stage clinical testing. Okay, but that's not fact yet. That's what they come from, and there's going to be some bias on that side. So that's the information I got. it's one of those things we're going to find out. For example, Ford Motor Company has got coolers set up and for people who choose to get this vaccine. So it's just going to be a matter of time. We'll find out, is it a safe vaccine? Does it work? Or is this something that'll be like kind of like the flu shot? Well, let me get to the chat window. I heard it had a bad side effects for 2 days. Level 1 drone RC. Yeah, that could be. I haven't heard of that, but it could definitely be. A lot of people have gotten sick off the flu shots too. I'm trying to be, fair on this and look at both sides. Like 13 dropped to say hi. Oh, okay. I'm going to get you in my tribute video jukebox. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. BOX. Yeah, level drone RC. That's probably true. Like I said, I just have to wait. We'll have to wait to see, is this thing 95% effective. Now, this is just a clinical trial, meaning that let's say they've had 500 or 1,200 people take it, the number of people that haven't gotten sick and claim that this thing has worked fine. But when you're talking rolling this out to millions, 60 Minutes did a good story on it as far as this thing's got to be kept like, I think, 20 degrees below zero, how it gets stored and what it's going to do. So, yeah, we'll see. But I do believe, and it's just my own opinion. You disagree, that's fine. That we're here to have conversation, agree or disagree. But I think the only way at this point, this thing is so spread, this COVID-19, to beat it and get this is to get a vaccine rolled out. Oh, thank you, Victory Yay. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Victory Yay, a good channel to get with, all NBA, but believe me, you watch his stuff, come on his channel, genuine YouTube channel. Anyway, so yeah, it's so spread, just speaking here in America, that social distancing and these things we're doing, the prevention measures, as I refer to them, as I look at it, wearing a mask and social distancing and all this, but business is getting killed. A lot from small business as well as normal things. I'm a big bowler. I love to go out bowling. I haven't been out bowling in a while because it's not so much the ball and I'm so panicked and worried about touching everything, but what's at a bowling alley? Food and drinks, and a lot of people are in there. And this is the bad part of this, is it's an airborne virus. Now, granted, a lot of people, if you're under 50 years old, I think it's only claimed like 4% of people or 5% of people that are under 50 years old. But I wouldn't want the virus, even if it meant me getting sick. So like I say, it's just my opinion. I think that's the only way we could beat it at this point is that vaccine. So I'm not saying this, and maybe it's another vaccine that comes out, but I guess we'll find out more. All I can do is just tell you what I know. I'm not in the government. I just go off of what information I got. So yeah, if you're interested in it, the article I got on it's from The Hill. I think NBC News or the ABC World News Tonight, they both did an article, a news segment, not article, on this. And 60 Minutes, if you get up their YouTube channel, they did a couple weeks back a big news story on this vaccine getting rolled out. So, but no, I understand, and I'm not going to criticize anybody that says, hey, I'm leery. I have legit reasons why I'm not too keen on taking this vaccine right away. Excuse me. Thank you for coming, Roll. I'm doing good. It seems that it will just have to work its rounds and let it be in the rear view mirror a couple of years. Yeah, it could be true. Yeah. I'll get you in here, Roll. I'm doing the tribute video. I won't be doing it this week, by the way. It'll be after my next live. But if you're on this live tonight, you're in the tribute video. I have fun with it. Try to get some good music in there. And, I'll put the music in there and then highlight your channels. Anyway, anything else you guys want to say on the vaccine? And I'll move on to my next story here. This is a pretty cool one. Whether you got a question or anything you want to say on it. But yeah, no, I understand some people that, you know, and it's legitimate concerns where they don't want to take this right away, the vaccine. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jukebox. This is cool. Let me read this news story here. Oh, and thank you for coming. You know what? Real quick before I get my next story, I didn't get you on my list here for the tribute video. I'll be doing that probably next week. Sherman, Sharman, Phil Pot. Oh, not Pot is. Oh yeah, it is Pot. Okay. Is it two L's or? Oh, Phil. Okay, two L's. Okay. I'll make sure I grab your channel, Sherman, for my tribute video. Anyway, moving on. I'm gonna if you hold on, everybody, I'm gonna just change out the battery of my light over here. It's starting a little dim. I got one light plugged in, one runs on a battery. I'm going to change that out for a second, and then I'm going to talk about the world's deepest swimming pool just opened in Poland. I got a video of it. It's pretty cool. It's in my description box, but I'm going to talk about it. There we go. My battery is good for about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes here on my other light. There we go. Much brighter. You can see me clearly. And I can see the chat window a lot better now. Anyway, let me read this. I got this from the UPI, United Press International. A lot of cool stuff I get off this website. This is November 24th. Okay, so just this past week. A newly opened business in Poland is offering training services for scuba divers in its 148-foot deep pool, the deepest swimming pool in the world right now. It says, which opened its doors and boasts the 148 swimming pool, holds more than 280,000 cubic feet of water, the same amount as 27 Olympic-sized swimming pools. Wow. The pool features underwater caves, recreations of the Mayan ruins, and a shipwreck reproduction. The pool is designed for scuba training and will be used to train divers for the Polish Army and firefighters, officials said. The business also features a hotel with underwater views, a tunnel for spectators to watch divers, and a restaurant and several meeting rooms. That's pretty cool. So it's one of those, I've seen some of these before. I think Vegas had one where it has like a bar restaurant and it's got the big plexiglass and you could see through there and see like the fish and stuff swimming around. But this pool, I have the video clip of this news story in my description box. It's like a 1.5-minute video clip. It's from a Miami news station, I believe it was. Anyway, it's got like what makes it so deep, the real deep part. It's a big well that goes, here's my pen, like up here, goes all the way down, as well as they have like a boat in there, like kind of like a ski boat or a little bigger that they've made and they put in there. And that's for like the scuba training that goes so many feet deep. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. So they have a restaurant and meeting room, so they'll be able to see right into the pool there. World's deepest swimming pool. Now, I did see some YouTube videos a while back. They have a pool similar to this, but not as deep. I want to say it was Germany or Czech Republic, somewhere in Europe it was too. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But what I really find fascinating about is when you watch this video clip, it just how deep and below ground this thing goes. I mean, this thing goes far. Yeah, it is very cool. I would show it in my video real quick, but see, here's a problem I had when I did a prior live back in August. I did a topic on dangerous islands, and when I talked about Snake Island is I can get these copyright claims when I start showing certain things, other videos on YouTube and putting it in there. So just FYI, what I do is I'll take the video clip or the news article and I'll put it in my description box, and all you got to do is go in there and you can click it and watch it. But yeah, this thing's the deepest pool. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Oh yeah, yeah, Victory. Yeah, yep. Can't wait. One thing is though, that's a whole different breed with the scuba diving too, is that water pressure. Going down 140 some 8 feet. I imagine you got to go down so far with those scuba tanks and get depressurized, I believe, or you got to get used to that pressure of the water. Then you go down even further. It's kind of like how the Navy SEALs train in professional scuba divers. The U.S. Navy has a scuba diving rescue team. But anyway, it's really cool. Check it out. Now, here's a funny story. I had to put this in there. Unfortunately, there's no pictures or video to go with this. Again, this is from the United Press International. November 25th. Now, in Michigan, the opening firearm deer season starts November 15th and goes to the end of November through the 30th. Most states are right around November, their deer season. So anyway, but this isn't the United States. A hunter the deer hunter in the Czech Republic was charged by a deer. And the deer came at the guy, and the man's gun got caught on its antlers, and the deer fled into the woods with the rifle caught around the deer's antlers. A hunter contacted authorities to recount the story of how he lost his gun while hunting near the village of Herona. I can't even pronounce the name, but it's some small village where he was hunting. The man said one of the hunting dogs in his group started barking in a wooded area, causing the panicked deer to run directly at him. The deer's antlers ripped the man's sleeve and ended up snagging his .22 Hornet rifle, which had been slung over his left hand at the time. The animal ran off into the woods with the hunter's unloaded gun still attached to its antlers, the man told police. The police said another hunter reported spotting a deer with a rifle dangling from its antlers more than a half mile from the scene. Investigators said the hunter was required to report the loss of the rifle under the Czech Republic's Firearm Ammunition Act. Yeah, so it's funny, if you could picture this. He's going through the woods and his dog starts barking, some deer nearby. So this big deer, probably a 6 or 8 point, that's like the antlers on a deer that come up, a big antlers on the deer, comes charging at the guy. And it sounds like he had his rifle not, slung around his back. He's holding it. And the deer came and caught part of his jacket or his arm, and then the sling from the rifle got caught and tangled in the deer's antlers, and the deer took off running, and this deer rifle's around the deer's antlers, caught up in the antlers before it got out. It reminds me of another story, a funny news story, and I think it's on YouTube. It was on that show, America's Funniest Videos. Some guy, and this was the United States, similar to this story. They have this product called doe urine. A doe is a female deer and a buck is a male deer. And this product, doe urine, they get some chemicals or something, and it simulates the smell of doe urine. And big bucks will smell that and come in. And then they'll spray it like it's a squeeze bottle or a spray, and they'll put it in an area, and then the hunters will sit in a deer blind or camouflage themselves and wait for the deer, the big buck deer, those are the antler deer that they hunt, to come in. Well, this one guy had the idea, I'm going to just douse myself in doe urine and squirt this all over my jacket, my pants, and go out there. Well, he came across a group of deer, and it was a big buck charged him like 2 or 3 times, and he got flung and hit hard because he put this doe urine, this deer bait product all over himself. And it was on that America's Wildest Videos or America's Funniest Home Videos. It was one of those shows they showed it on. I think it's on YouTube, man. If you put in something like man charged by deer or something like that. I'm sorry I didn't get the link, but it's similar to this. This guy's dog barks. Can you imagine? He's holding his deer rifle. The deer comes charging up at him, and the rifle gets tangled in the antlers, and the deer takes off with his gun. I guess the hunter became the hunted with this story. I wish I had a video or a picture of this, but unfortunately the story didn't have it. It's just something good to give you a laugh, I tell you. Donut Toys and Games, thanks for coming. That's like an episode of Looney Tunes, Elmer Fudd hunting. Yes, it is. Yes, it is Donut Toys and Games. I'll put you on the tribute video list. Donut Toys and Games. I got you. Yeah. So just pretty funny and pretty funny what happened, I tell you. Well, I call it funny. The guy didn't get hurt or killed. He didn't get hurt real bad, or he wasn't killed. But you imagine someone else hunting or someone driving their truck along the road like, hey, man, look, what's that? Look at that deer. It's got a rifle tied up in his antlers. Oh, okay, Jukebox. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And I'm going to get into another story here. We're going to go from deer to a shark. Just get a sip of my Mountain Dew here. This again from the UPI. November 25th. So this is the past week. You're going to like this. I got a picture up for you on this one, okay? I was telling Level 1 Drone RC, if you're still here, about this earlier. Hammerhead shark circles oblivious swimmer in Florida. Some swimmer had no idea what was going on. And I'm going to read this real briefly, and then I'll show you the picture. A Florida photographer captured drone footage of an oblivious swimmer's close encounter with a huge hammerhead shark that swam circles around the man. A video on Instagram showing the scene that unfolded just offshore in Miami Beach when approximately 10-foot hammerhead shark approached a man who was swimming on his back. So basically, he was doing a back float. The swimmer was unaware of the shark, and the drone camera takes footage of this shark, this big hammerhead shark, circling around the guy. The shark swims circles around the man, who nearly strikes the predatory fish in the head with his foot at one point. The hammerhead eventually loses interest and swims away, leaving the swimmer untouched. So that's the good part. All right, let me get this picture. I'm going to put it back here so I can point this out to you. I put it in a smaller thing so you can kind of see it. But anyway, this is the picture the drone footage took. I feel like I'm getting back feed here. I'm hearing like the audio. Anyway, here's the guy doing a back float swimming. And then here's the shark. This is the big hammerhead shark right here, just underneath him. And the guy had no idea that this huge hammerhead shark was here, which is probably a good thing, because if he starts to panic and starts making all kinds of different movements, now that might be a different situation. So he's not intimidated. This shark isn't getting startled, I should say, by the guy. Very, very lucky, But anyway, this is the big hammerhead shark here, just underneath him. And this is a photo from the drone footage that took, and the guy swimming. So, it was his lucky day. What can I tell you? What else do I got on here? Oh, this is kind of interesting. I think I forgot to put this in my description box here. One of my news stories, another funny one from the, oh yeah, Victory. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully you're not hearing a back feed. I don't know. It sounds like I'm getting an echo. Anyway, a Florida man thaws his Thanksgiving turkey in backyard pool. This is a tradition he has. November 25th, again, from the UPI. All kinds of fun stuff here. All right. A lot of good stuff from Florida, too. I tell you, we're missing out. A Florida man posted a video showing off his family's most unusual pre-Thanksgiving tradition, thawing out a turkey in their backyard swimming pool. Mark O'Donnell posted on a Facebook Live video showing his family dumping the 16-pound turkey into the swimming pool behind their Clearwater home to thaw out for cooking. Clearwater's near Tampa. O'Donnell said his turkey packaging was closely examined for leaks before the thawing process to make sure none of the Chlorinated, that means the chlorine in the water, seeped into the meat. He said the turkey will be removed after spending a day thawing in the pool. O'Donnell said his family has been thawing Thanksgiving turkeys in the pool for 18 years. And I got a picture of this. It's basically the same thing. A lot of times, I'm sure you probably done it with your turkeys. You fill the water, fill your sink with warm water, and you take that frozen turkey and you just, leave it in that part of your sink with warm water for like 12 hours or a day, to thaw out, as well as leaving it on the counter. But anyway, I blew up the picture. This is the turkey floating in the pool. As you can see, there's nice clear pool here, and the turkey's there. It's all sealed, so none of the chlorine gets in there. Yeah, it's a pretty funny story. But, it's basically the same premise. Clearwater is a real probably warm area right about now, being down there in Florida. The same thing as people put the turkey in their kitchen sink in warm water. Oh, Shane's Kitchen. You're going to like this story. And thank you for the thumbs up, my friend. Talking about a guy in Florida as a tradition. He thaws out his Thanksgiving turkeys by throwing them in the pool. Now, he's in Clearwater, Florida, where the warm temperature is. But anyway, as you can see, it's not only the mesh, but it's really tightly sealed, so the chlorine water doesn't get into the turkey. But that's what he does. He tosses it in the warm pool and leaves it in there to thaw out. So I thought that was kind of funny and interesting. But yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. Same thing as if you ever done a turkey before to thaw it out, or probably even a ham, is a lot of people, you just get one part of your sink, put the little stop in there, fill it full of warm water, put your ham or turkey that's frozen in there and just let it thaw out. But the guy does it. The only thing is what he does, my concern would be you don't want any of that water when it's got chlorine in it getting in the meat. Then you wouldn't want to eat it. So anyway, something fun, interesting. Let me put you on my list. I'm going to do a tribute video, Shane Kitchen, JA, next week. I'm going to put you on the list here. JA. Okay. All right. Two more stories here, and we'll do some general conversation. Again, if you're just joining me, I will get you in the tribute video. Oh, you're more than welcome. I will not be doing it this week. I'll probably do it next week or the week after. So I'm going to do one more live broadcast, another late night show. So for people who didn't catch this late night show, if you come on the next one or watch it, I'll get you in the tribute video. No problem. And same thing. If you don't catch me on the next late night show, you're in it. You're on the late night show here, as well as too, some people, this time I do it late here in America. So when I see people comment and they say, hey, I enjoyed the late night show, or if they watch my late night show, comment like this way, I give them a chance, and I'll put them in just as well. Anyway, here's an act of kindness. Really cool story. This is from CNN. A group of local entrepreneurs paid for over $40,000 of groceries for customers at an Atlanta grocery store. Customers at an Atlanta grocery store were treated to a Thanksgiving surprise when a group of local entrepreneurs paid for thousands of dollars of groceries. We literally took up every register at the grocery store, and family after family would go through. Jason LaBelle, one of the benefactors, told CNN affiliate WXIA, we took over all 12 aisles for 2 hours. That's cool. And I got a picture here. I'll show you. Let me finish reading this. Anyway, it says here they spent around $40,000 at a Kroger in a suburb of Atlanta. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. As Black entrepreneurs, we got to give back to our own community, said Brad Gales. One customer, while on her way out, said, we have Thanksgiving food and we got tissue. God is good today. Thank you so much. And this is from CNN, November 25th. Let me get a picture of this. Really nice story. So anyway, this is one of the people here that were heading out their big receipt, So a lot of people, especially people that have, unemployed, low income, have a big family get together. These group of black entrepreneurs came in and paid for people's groceries. That's really something for it. And I mean, cool, or pay. How do they say? Playing it forward, meaning doing something good. Great act of kindness. Getting groceries for people. And getting back to community, especially when you have, it's nice to be able to give back. And I think that's a great way. I mean, it's great, when people do give a lot of money to a charity like the United Way or the American Red Cross and that. But I love it when I hear a story like this, just giving to people, in their own community directly to them. It wasn't so much like, hey, here's $1,000, go buy what you want, but when they do something like pay off a bill, or especially like this, buy some people groceries, that's cool. All right. Let me get a sip Mountain Dew. I got one more good story here I came across. I'm not ignoring you. I'm reading the chat, everybody. Yep, great gesture and a nice story for sure. Here's another good one I came across. This is, it says 6 days ago when I printed this up, Friday night. So it was about a week ago. This is from MSN as well as the Daily News. It's MSN website tied in with Microsoft. Oh, my Snapple. I didn't have my Snapple tonight. I do have some Snapple. I didn't have it in the fridge, so I got a Mountain Dew and I got bottled water. But yeah, it's one of my favorite drinks. Yes, the Snapple. Yep, she knows me. Anyway, a Florida man gives a car to a substitute teacher in need. Looking to unload a car that had belonged to his late grandma, Corey Schneider, decided to pay it forward. Okay. He received it after a car accident years earlier and it had served him faithfully. He wanted to pass it on in the same manner, the Tampa Bay Times recounted. The 1997 Ford Crown Victoria white, around 100,000 miles, almost driven, was driven by his grandma. Schneider posted it on Reddit last week. Damn good physical appearance for a 24-year-old car. I want to help someone who needs it and give the vehicle away for free, who needs a free vehicle. Out of a rash of messages that flooded in, he picked a 31-year-old Mark Shelby, a substitute teacher who had been living with his mother while recovering from a car accident that had totaled his own vehicle. This is a substitute teacher, this Mark Shelby. When I first got the call, I felt like I was going to cry, Shelby told the Tampa Bay Times. Then came another assistant, another person who assisted in this, a local entrepreneur of St. Petersburg. He came and put $400 in the glove box when they brought the car out to gift to the substitute teacher who got in the accident, didn't have a vehicle, and to cover the registration and additional costs getting the car. The three men even turned out to live near one another, the newspaper said. Shelby's dream is to one day build an orphanage, and he said receiving the car made all the difference in his outlook on life. And this is a picture here from the school when they showed up. The guy in the black t-shirt, this is Shelby right here. And that's the Ford Crown Victoria car he got. I mean, it looks really nice and good shape here. So that came there. And ironically, I own a Mercury Grand Marquis, which is the same thing as the Ford Crown Victoria. It's just Mercury brand. It's both Ford. They had one stamp Ford for Crown Victoria, and the other one's Mercury. Great car, one of the best cars Ford ever built. Yes, yeah, great news story. So, that's something good. The guys say, hey, the car still runs. It's good. I like to help somebody out in need. And after going through, he put a thing on, was it Reddit or Facebook, 31 different people. He picked out this substitute teacher who got in a car accident and needed transportation to do his job. So this is going to help him out tremendously. And that's a great thing teachers do, educate our children. So I thought that was really cool. Anyway, what was it? Oh, that's something else I'll talk about briefly right here. Tomorrow I'm gonna be working on a video. I going to a place. It's a party store called. Yes, it is Victory. Yay, yes. There's a party store in the Detroit area. So the franchise party store called Buscini's, and they sell liquor, tobacco products, pop, juice. But one of the things they do at the store, and I go there often, is they make pizza. Oh, they also do subs. So I talked to the guy, it's near me, this Buscini's, and I had an idea. I said, no, I'd love to do a video showing Buscini's, especially for the Detroit area, is one of the best pizzas, and it's reasonably priced. As well as the people on YouTube would love to see your pizza. You're round and square. And I'm going to show up there tomorrow. And he was really said, yeah, sure. I'd love to do a video like that. That would be great for my store. And I'll put a store link in there. Yes. But one of the things you'll see, and I'll probably do it later this week, I'm going to go tomorrow and film this, is a lot of these pizza franchise places, they have these conveyor ovens. They're like conveyor belts. They like Papa John's, Pizza Hut, Papa Romano's, who's some of these? They're Little Caesars, Domino's, these different pizza franchise places. And the reason they have these conveyor belts is it cooks the pizzas faster, but it's not as good as an actual, the conveyor belt ovens is an actual pizza oven that's into the wall. The only drawback is you can't cook as many pizzas with the old school pizza ovens in the wall, but it cooks up a much better pizza. And that's what they use at this party store. Now, the thing is, the party store is able to have their pizza at a reasonable price because their main income isn't just off pizza. And they do good. The dough is good. The cheese, they use quality cheese and sauce. And so I'm going to go in there and film him making their pizza, showing their round and square pizza as well as their party store. It's kind of cool. They've got a huge liquor selection and wine. And it's like a all-in-one type party store. Anything you think of, they got in there just about. But my main reason I'm going to go in there tomorrow and film is show how they make their pizza. And one of the key things they use is oven. And then the other thing is some of these franchise pizza places, what I don't like, the ones like, I'll use Little Caesars, for example. Yeah, you can go in if you're hungry and get a hot and ready pizza for $5 plus tax. Or is it, well, here in Detroit area, I'm not sure, where everybody lives. I got a few people from the Philippines. I might be talking French here right now and not knowing about these pizza places. But long story short, yeah, you could go in a Little Caesars and $5 get a hot and ready pizza or $7 the square. But you got to think, how are they selling this pizza for $5 or $6? Hungry Howie's is another one of these ones. They use cheap cheese, cheap sauce, cheap dough. And yeah, it might taste good. They butter the crust or put a seasoning on it or something, But the thing is with Buscemi's, they use really good quality pizza sauce, the dough. So anyway, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to film this tomorrow. I'm going to go up there and do the video. And a lot of people love pizza. Who doesn't? But I thought it's much better than just showing up like at some Little Caesars or other place and just showing how they do their typical pizza, as well as that, a lot of people in the Detroit area, probably have heard of Buscemi's, but don't know they make the whole pizzas. They mainly sell most of their pizzas sold by the slice and lots of it. A lot of people come in there around lunchtime and they come in and get a couple slices and a Mountain Dew or a bottle of water. They're on lunch. And he does a lot, but he also sells around the square. So anyway, that's my video project for tomorrow. The only problem I know I will counter a little bit when I get my camera set up, my tripod, similar when I was at the flea market, I'm going to have people in there. It's like, you're going to see me with the camera and a light and we'll be doing talking like, oh, what are they doing here? Filming a video commercial? What's going on here? Why in the middle of, I'm trying to talk and be like, yeah, I'm filming a video. Thanks for interrupting. So we'll see how it goes. He wants me in the afternoon after 2:00 when the business kind of dies down. So that's when I'll go in and I'm going to do the filming. Oh, bless her girl, Joe. Thank you for coming. I'll put you on the list for the tribute video. I'll be doing it next week after my next live. So if you catch me on this one or my next one, you're in. So anyway, that's a film thing I'm going to do tomorrow. I will still have, I got some product reviews and drink reviews. I haven't abandoned that. I'm going to be doing those. I have some I'm going to be posting. So yeah, I'm still do some product reviews and drink reviews, but I like to do different things, mix it up, put it on there. But so anyway, that'll be my little video project tomorrow, and I anticipate having fun. So it'll be Buscemi's. I just got to figure out the title. I might call it Buscemi's Party Store, Detroit's Best Pizza, in Quolen, something like that. But you'll see it later this week. So check it out. I'll try to keep it around, 20 minutes, give or take, similar to like the flea market video. Okay. I'm going to add you in here, Blessed Girl Joe, real quick to my tribute video list. Blessed Girl Joe. What's up, sis? Oh, Sean. Okay. Anyway, I'll wrap this up here in a little bit. We'll do general conversation too, but let me do this. I've been talking, but let me type something here. Thank you guys for coming. 1 second. Oh, where am I? Is there anything that before I wrap up the show here tonight, is there anything that you guys wanted to ask or a comment or question you want to make about anything we talked about here tonight? We went over quite a bit from the LA riots to some funny news stories. Oh, before I forget, if you're just joining me, if you go in my description box, I know it might be a broken record for some of you guys who've been here, but if you go in my description box, I got the video links, the information on everything we talked about here. So I got a lot of video links on the 1992 Los Angeles riots, otherwise known as the Rodney King riots, from a documentary to some other video clips, if that's something you might find interesting. And I also have a video clip on the world's deepest pool that just opened in Poland. So that's pretty cool. You can check that out. It's all in my description box. A big thank you to everybody. Oh, and no problem you're being late, man. I be honest with you, sometimes I don't catch all of your guys' live broadcasts and videos, and it might be a day or two later that I catch up with you. I try to, because people, especially that come to my channel, always believe you get back, so I'll catch you live. Like, for example, my friend Victor EA does a nightly broadcast, and he does a lot of video games that are basketball, the NBA, and talks basketball. And I might not catch him some nights, but I'll catch his live broadcast, later dates, so no problem. It just appreciate everybody being here. It means a lot. I never take anything for granted. Sometimes big YouTube channels do that. Someone gets big and don't take people for granted, because that's, without you guys, I have no YouTube channel. Some people lose that picture. I didn't get back to, I've talked about before, givers and takers. I see Inside Edition link in the description box. I'll definitely check it out. Yes. What was interesting with that? I think that was the Reginald Denny story. Denny, I think was his last name. He was the truck driver that was pulled out of the truck and beat during these 1992 LA riots, and it made national attention because there was a news chopper flying over and there was nothing they could do and no police showed up. But it was people that in their own community that came out and saved his life. And what was interesting with this too is you'll see before he was on Fox News, it was Bill O'Reilly, really, really young Bill O'Reilly. He worked on Inside Edition at that time. You'll see him commentate it, and they'll show the video clip of it. Yep. The documentary was really well done, as well as you'll see a couple of video clips, as I spoke earlier, about what happened in Koreatown, a part of Los Angeles, when the local radio station said, hey, the police are not coming to protect you or your property. Flee if you can, and if you can't, take up arms and protect yourselves and your loved ones. And then there's raw video clips there of these Korean store owners going out and shooting at these looters and rioters that were coming there to loot their businesses and burn them down, as well as to cause harm to them in the community. But yeah, the video clips are in there. Not a movie. It's as real as it gets. I can see you do a lot of research. Oh yes. Now I will say, in all due fairness, 1 second. I gotta wet the whistle here. I've watched when I was on midnights some years back. I used to go on YouTube a lot, and I watched a lot of documentaries and stuff on the 1992 LA riots, as well as when I kind of lived through it. I wasn't in Los Angeles at the time. Los Angeles, I didn't live there. I was in Detroit area, but I think I was around like 14, 15 years old, and I was watching the news, the CNN, the ABC, NBC News of when this happened, even with the verdict. And before the riot happened, it goes back to the Rodney King incident. Sadly, I think it was a couple years ago or a few years ago, Rodney King died. He drowned in a pool. It was in his neighborhood. I think it was a neighbor's swimming pool or some backyard pool. Oh, Pack Technology, thank you for coming. Yeah, it was a tragedy what happened to Rodney King. He drowned in a pool. Now he was on. I remember seeing him. He sought help. He had a bad narcotics addiction, and there was a guy in the mid 2000s or early 2000s, Dr. Drew, and Dr. Drew's friends with I think Jimmy Kimmel. But anyway, Dr. Drew had a reality show, if you remember, called Celebrity Rehab, and on he had it like I think twice a year, and he'd bring out like 6 or 8 different celebrities or former celebrities, people that are known that had narcotics or alcohol problems, and he would help them, and it'd be on his show. And on one of his seasons, Rodney King came on there, and he had a narcotics problem, and Dr. Drew helped him, and that was it was called Celebrity Rehab. If you Google it, Dr. Drew Celebrity Rehab, and they probably might even have it on YouTube. I didn't check, but Rodney King was on there, and he was the gentleman who was beat real bad by the police officers. And I have that link in there. But yeah, I did a lot of research on that. It wasn't just in a matter of a week. Yeah, VH1, that was it. Yep. Celebrity Rehab, and he was on one of those seasons where Rodney King was. Yep, Dr. Drew. Yeah. I think he's more just retired now. I haven't seen him doing um his reality show or on much now anymore. Because there was a time in the early mid 2000s he had his reality show, and then he did a radio show with I think it was Jimmy Kimmel and someone else. This is before Jimmy Kimmel had got the late night show gig in 2002. But anyway, yeah, when that verdict came out, I said, "Oh boy, that LA is not going to take this lightly. They're going to just this city is going to erupt in a road, and not going over the whole thing." But you'll see it in the documentary I have posted, as well as the other links. I try to put everything in there. But yeah, I've watched and read and researched a lot about the 92 Los Angeles riots. So that's why I know quite a bit. I just went over some stuff and re-familiarized myself with a lot of what happened there. And if it's something you're kind of interested in, like I say in the description box, I got the different links you can click on and learn about it. And one of the biggest things, like I say, I'll say this one more time. If you're just joining me, you didn't join me earlier when I was talking about the riots, what was learned from it, what changed was that before then, you could see this if you ever watched the movie Colors, 1988 or 87, it came out with Robert Duvall and Sean Penn. The approach with law enforcement was tough on crime and crime enforcement in the community, and there wasn't enough of that community policing, as well as some of the tactics had changed, with their former police chief Gates, who had it. So that was one good change that came about it, as well as over the years I've read too that they've had several attempts, at repairing relations between the Korean community, the white community, the black community, Hispanic community, and coming together and doing things, which hadn't happened prior to 1992. Okay, yeah. Now, if you watch the movie Colors, what you'll see is the approach from the LA County Sheriff and Los Angeles LAPD, which is Los Angeles Police Department, which was that tough on crime, we're going to get them type approach. And it wasn't that community policing approach, which community policing is the mindset and theory. We police for the community. We don't police the community. And we have to work with the community because without that, there's not much we can do, as far as resolving crimes and whatnot. So that kind of changed. But as I say, and I always believe in being, I'm a realist, and reality is with the George Floyd incident, all that went down the SHITER for a while. That went out the window, across the country. It's going to take time to repair. It ain't just going to, happen overnight. But Ice-T, yes, he did this song Colors, a great song. The only thing that was not reality with that movie, now granted, there was the Bloods and the Crips as far as the gangs, but the Bloods and Crips were not like one gang is all black, one's Hispanic. In real life, the Crips and Bloods, there's blacks, Hispanics, even some whites that are in those gangs. But in the movie, it made it out where the Bloods were all Hispanic and the Crips were black, and it was a race type thing, and that's far from the truth. Oh, well, thanks, blessed girl, Joe. Just a few more thoughts on the 1992 LA riots. But I do believe, as you see in the documentary, that's the worst I've seen in my lifetime. Was the 1992 Los Angeles riots, or also known as Rodney King. The the fires throughout that city, and the looting. And then, the sad part was a lot of people wasn't about a cause. A lot of people, when it first started, it was especially the minority community has had enough. And when they saw these police got off not guilty, boom, that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. So during when those riots broke out, second and third day, a lot of people just took opportunity to take stuff, to go in a store and grab a free TV, get a bunch of shoes, do this, do that, which doesn't help anybody. And it's another thing I forgot, I put in my description box too. I got all these videos and I should have took a note, but watch this. It's a black business owner gets out in the street after his business is looted, and he starts yelling and screaming, but in a way he's talking to everybody there, saying, I'm a black owned business. I grew up in this community. What are you people going to have? You just took and stole from someone in your own color, your own community. This is what you're doing. And what are you going to have tomorrow and the next day? It's very profound. A black business owner speaks to looters or rioters. I have it in the description box. This was not in the news media. This is somebody who recorded this like with a VHS camera or one of those camcorders. And they finally years later converted and put it on YouTube. And what he says and his emotion with it, and just speaking the honest truth, very profound and moving. So yeah, that you'd want to watch. I think it's like 10 or 12 minutes, just raw emotion. There was so much with these riots, different aspects. I can't cover all of it, but it was something I wanted to talk about. I'm surprised I didn't talk about it before in my broadcast, but here it is now, and hopefully that's what they say is important with history anyway, that we learn from it so we don't repeat it, but that's not always the case. Oh, you seen that video, Victory? Yeah, very profound. He gets out, he's wearing that thing, it's a brown t-shirt. I watched a little bit of it before I posted it tonight, and what he says, yep. But anyway, some general conversation. Is there any questions that anybody has or something they want to say before I wrap up the late night show here? And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I'm going to just take a look here. Pack Technology, may add you to the tribute video list. I'm going to do, again, Pack Technology. Anyone join me? The tribute video, the next one, I think I'm on 14 already. I'm going to do that after my next live broadcast, because one change I wanted to make was I'm not going to do one every week with each live. And part of the reason is I got a number of things going on, but as well as I want to give everybody a chance to get in it. So say, hey, if you didn't catch this live, if you watch it in full, leave a comment, you're in it, or if you catch me on the next one. But you're here now, you will be in the tribute video. So if you don't catch my next late night show either a week from now or 2 weeks from now, Pack Technology. All right, I got you. Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, I went over everything I want to talk about tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I really enjoyed you being here. Let me do another big thank you to everyone. Boom. So, gosh, I'm at, well, a little over 1 a.m. my time. Again, a big thank you, everyone, being here. And believe me, I got this list also, too. I make sure I hit your channels up as well. And we'll network with each other. And with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. And I'm going to say this just like I say in most of my videos. And I say it because I mean it. Stay safe and enjoy life, everybody.